Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. So I started my day with a movie, and boy, am I glad I did. Whoo, man, this one was really, really good. I was a little nervous because it's had a lot of hype, and sometimes, the hype doesn't always apply. But lately, it seems like every time I've had hype on a movie, it's been paying off. Transformative performances, excellent directing, really, really clever writing. This movie was a big win. So pull up a chair, man. Take a seat. We're getting ready to dive in, spoiler free, on Vice. Wow, dude. Adam McKay, bravo, sir. This movie is wildly entertaining. It is unabashedly funny. There are moments in this movie where you are laughing out loud and laughing out loud for lengths of time. It's really quite clever the way McKay is able to tell this story that deals with a lot of heavy and important things, right? Covering the span of time in Cheney's life that they do. I mean, you're talking about very influential things, very poignant things, and very important messages. All of that, lives within the movie. But he found a way that I think Oliver Stone kind of did with W, but he just missed the mark there, where I think McKay hit this dead on, man. This movie works so well. It's so entertaining. The pacing is wonderful. The directing, the writing, like I said, so clever. The way in which they're able to add elements of humor just works so well. Every time it would happen, you're laughing and then you sit there and you go, wow, that was I can't that they went there. Wow, that's really funny. That really illustrates this or that. All that stuff hits really, really well, but so does all the poignant stuff, man. I mean, this is not a picture that, necessarily, paints Dick Cheney out to be anything other than what Dick Cheney was. And it goes into the criticisms and everything that you would go into. And you walk out and it's like, man, I feel like I just watched an origin story for a diabolical Bond villain. And I mean that in a way where it's the way in which Cheney positioned himself and was able to move himself around to always kind of be in a place where he could influence things from a political standpoint, rather commendable. But when you get into the fallout is of some of those decisions, I think McKay, handles all of that stuff really, really well. So much so that you get to the end of the movie. And I'm kind of sitting there, I'm really digging this, but I wonder if everyone will dig this, right? I can see where critics obviously will love this movie because technically it's very, very well crafted, very well written, directed. Acting is amazing. But the general audience, I mean, there are people that are, very pro Dick Cheney and that administration. So some of the stuff that the movie kind of takes on, I can see that rubbing people the wrong way. And McKay does two things. One, with Cheney directly at the end of the movie, and then stick around. Adam McKay was like, I want to get in on this Marvel, and superhero business, man, and has a mid-credit scene. And definitely stick around for the first part of the credits, too. There's an artistic twist to the credits that I thought, again, was very funny. And then gives you a mid-credit scene that is, again, hysterical, but kind of addresses some of the questions and thoughts I was having toward the end of the movie. So I was very, very, very impressed with Adam McKay. And I start there because the man wrote and directed the heck out of this movie. But he didn't do it alone, man. He had one hell of a cast and just an absolutely tremendous lead. I'm a humongous Christian Bale fan. And he went all in on this, and he disappears. I mean, when this movie was first announced, and there were first look pictures coming out, people who weren't aware of everything that was happening was like, who is that? You completely lose Christian Bale in this movie. And he committed, man. I mean, he put the weight on himself. Very minimal makeup in the movie outside of his hair, and then obviously some of the makeup they have to put on to age him. But, I mean, totally committed. He really, really becomes Dick Cheney on screen. His delivery is spectacular. And just the whole movie, you just sit there and you're like, wow, Christian Bale is crushing it. He is taking this really, really great material and just elevating it to a place that I think he's going to have himself some very friendly nominations and possibly a few golden buddies to add to his collection. I really, really, it's one of the best performances that he's done. I really think he nailed Cheney, and just his delivery throughout the whole movie. Like I said, this is a movie that deals with really serious stuff, so you got to be kind of careful with the humor. And Bale delivers it all just elegantly and absolutely wonderful, to the point that when you get to that thing with Dick Cheney toward the end of the movie, man, I mean that like just slam dunks the performance home. Like that moment happens, I went, yeah, okay. And I just love everything that he's doing, and that he is able to work in all the different places McKay asks everybody to do, and the whole cast does a tremendous job. Amy Adams as Lynn Cheney, his wife, spectacular, so strong and so fervor. Like the ferocity to her, man. Dick Cheney might not have never gotten into politics without Lynn Cheney. There's a scene toward the beginning of this movie where you just get a slam dunk classic Amy Adams performance, and really depicts this very strong, very assertive woman, who had no problem, stepping back and being the mom, as long as Dick was gonna go and be something. She's really the lighter that lit the torch under Dick's ass to get him going on the political route, and she's fantastic the whole movie. I love Amy Adams. Steve Carell also, talk about a guy who's on a tear right now, man. He's just dropping movie after movie that is just getting people talking. Tremendous, playing Donald Rumsfeld, man. He's, again, like when you're like I said, dealing with everything the way in which McKay does, having someone with the comedic talent and chops as Steve Carell to play Donald Rumsfeld really just kind of elevates, again, all of that material. And he is fast-paced, sharp, witty, like just everything Steve Carell was doing, I loved. Sam Rockwell, my dude, man, so good. Comes in as George W. Bush and crushes it, man. You could tell that he was having a good time, and delivers the material really, really well. You get a very authentic feeling GW. And I thought he did a great job. There are things to George in the movie that like were bothering me, not from what Sam is doing, but from like makeup wise. And I was like, oh man, that looks so bad. And then like Sam kind of addresses it at the end of the movie and asks a question. I was like, that's hysterical. Like I said, everything in this movie was working, from a comedy standpoint, and also delivering, intelligent, factual, poignant information and thoughts. I said this cast just is massive. There are so many people in this cast, and they all do an excellent job. I mean, from Allison Pill to Eddie Marson, Justin Kirk, Lisa Gay Hamilton, Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons, this guy is everywhere. I have this conversation with my mom all the time. I see a movie, Jesse Plemons pops up. Always a pleasure. I love Plemons, and his role in this movie, wow, really, really cool. He's kind of the narrator, and the way he kind of weaves himself into the movie. Again, something I was like, wow, like Adam McKay was firing on all cylinders in this movie. But then, I mean, Bill Camp, Don McManus, just this Lily Rabe, just massive list of actors that everybody crushes it. But there's one other big one, Tyler Perry coming in to play Colin Powell, nails it, man. He's not in a lot in right toward the very end, but two very poignant scenes, and I thought really, really well delivered. Like I said, this cast, top to bottom, led by a tremendous performance by Christian Bale, is just stellar. I loved everything about this movie. Hats off to everyone that worked on Vice. This movie is a slam dunk, I think, win. It is really, like I said, entertaining, very thought-provoking, definitely will stir up some conversation for sure. But McKay is very self-aware of the movie that he was making, the kind of movie he wanted to make, the message that he was sending, and the fact that he, much like Dick Cheney, not really embarrassed or apologetic for anything that he's doing, and it just works really, really well. So and I'm not even a political person. I'm not big on politics. A lot of stuff in the movie where I was like, I wonder how this all played out. Like behind the scenes, or someone who knows politics more. Like, I'd be very interested. If you're a politic fan, and you've seen this movie, hit those comments below, man. I really, really want to know what you guys think. Because as someone who's not in on politics too much. I'm very much movie and sports oriented. I found myself not having a difficult time understanding what was going on, remembering a lot of the facts that I do kind of remember from the news in certain elements, but telling the story in a way where, for a non-political person, I enjoyed the heck out of it. So I'll be interested to see what people who follow politics and are into that think about the movie. But as I'm saying that means I am done talking, man. Those are all my thoughts on Vice. I want to hear your thoughts, though, down below in the comments. If you've seen this movie, how much did you love it? If you didn't love it, why? Did you enjoy the humor being inserted? Did you think it effectively did a lot of the things that I think W tried to do back when Oliver Stone made that one? But do you, how do you think that those two movies kind of compare? Because again, from the same time period, in a similar sense, I think again this one hits it a little bit more on the nose. But let me know everything you're thinking there. If you haven't seen Vice, go see Vice. I hope I've enticed you to go see Vice because it is really, really spectacular. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please, man, give me a thumbs up. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe and little bell so you get alerts every time I make a new video. For the C-Man's Cinema Sit Down, I'm the C-Man, and I'm signing off. Peace. Well, you guys are still here. You must be looking for some more content. Well, don't worry. C-Man's got you covered, man. You got videos like this guy and this guy. And if you haven't yet, and you want to come check out all the C-Man goodies, join the Cinema Sit Down squad, man. Hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the little bell down below that, too, so you can get alerts every time I make new videos.